All right, everybody, good afternoon. We've got some head coaching news in the NFL. We've got some happenings, and it's pretty substantial. It's pretty big. It's significant. And it has reduced the complexity of the Seattle Seahawks head coaching search down significantly. So things are happening, things are going down, and it should be a very simple decision for the Seahawks from here on out. So, earlier this morning, this was like right after my head coaching tier list thing went live at 9 o'clock this morning. We got news from Schefter about the Carolina Panthers job. They are poaching Dave Canales from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, this was something that picked up steam over the last day or so, and now it's getting punched in. Dave Canales is going to get a shot as a head coach in Carolina. I feel bad for him, but I'm also happy for him. I feel bad for him because it's Carolina, and you're working under a terrible, terrible owner on a terrible, terrible team with a, I would go so far as to say, pretty terrible quarterback. But he does get this head coaching opportunity, so hope he makes the best of it. Hope he does well with it. Hope he doesn't get fired after less than one season like his predecessor. Let's put it that way. So, Canales was a guy who was pretty high on my list. I liked him a lot. He was a guy who came up in the Seahawks tree, but I didn't get the sense that he was tainted by the regime in the same way that some of the other guys were. Like, I didn't consider him to be part of the Pete Carroll package. If I did, I wouldn't have been too hot to trot on him, but he had done so much good work for the offensive side of the ball with receivers and quarterbacks that I liked him a lot. And if we had hired him, I would have been really happy with that. But I will say this, there didn't seem to be very much interest. The Seahawks did not really seem to be pursuing him. So I can't say that we lost much there. It didn't seem like he was anywhere near the top of our list. So we've got Canales going to Carolina. That closes up that opening. And then we got a big one just a handful of minutes ago, actually. Raheem Morris, another Schefter bomb. The Atlanta Falcons are hiring Raheem Morris as their head coach. Now, the bad news is the Rams are going to get a couple of third-round picks out of this. Not thrilled about that. But it closes up that Atlanta opening, which is big because they could have hired just about anybody, I feel like. And more importantly, it takes Raheem Morris off the board so the Seahawks cannot hire him. And he was a guy that we were actually very much intensely looking at. In fact, his hiring with Atlanta is preventing him from having his second round of interviews in Seattle. He was going to come here, I think, tomorrow, and now he's getting hired, so there's no point. So this is a big relief for me. This is a big relief because Raheem Morris seemed to be one of the guys that there was some interest in on the part of the Seahawks, and we kind of got saved from ourselves. No disrespect to Raheem Morris, but I'm sure we can do better. I don't want a defensive guy. I don't want a guy who already failed as a head coach. I don't want a guy who has debatably had mediocre amounts of success with his most recent coordinator job. Like, there was just way too much stuff with Raheem Morris that I hated. So, this is a nice little relief, I'll say. It closes up a very appealing job with an unappealing candidate. And it means that as Seahawks fans, we have a little bit less to worry about today. And I feel like I speak for pretty much everybody when I say that. I didn't see anybody in my comments anywhere advocating for Raheem Morris. I didn't see any Seahawks fans saying, I want Raheem Morris. That's the guy that I want. I saw a lot of people who were concerned about hiring him, if anything. So this is a big one. And for those of you counting at home, this means that there are two head coaching openings left in the NFL. Schefter has the latest and greatest here in this tweet: Seahawks and Commanders. And it is believed that both teams are going to wait until at least next week to make a decision. So, two openings left. Still have Bill Belichick, still have Mike Vrabel, still have Pete Carroll. Schefter decides to throw him in there even though he's clearly not in play. Still have Ben Johnson, still have Mike McDonald, Still have Dan Quinn. Still have Bobby Slowick. Still have Aviro. He lists Aaron Glenn here for some reason. I don't know why. I did get a couple of comments on YouTube defending Aaron Glenn as a potential head coach, which, okay, I don't see it. I gotta just be honest here. You still got Frank Smith out there. You still got Adam Stenovich, I guess. You still got guys like God, who else? Who else is not taken up at this point? Van Pelt. You still got guys like Joe Brady. So many guys. So the point I'm trying to make is you're not going to like everybody on that list. You're not going to like everybody who's available, of course. But you can definitely find two guys that you would be on board with. And if you can't, you're not trying hard enough. If you cannot find two available head coaches right now that you would be excited for the Seahawks to get, you're not trying hard enough. Period. There's way too much out there. So I don't expect the Seahawks, and honestly, it doesn't seem like the Commanders are interested in Belichick, so he might actually get left out in the cold here, which is crazy, but it seems like it's happening. It seems like Belichick's just going to take a year off or retire. It really seems like we're headed that way, which blows my mind, but here we are. Maybe he wanted that GM power so badly that that he was not going to bend on that, and once he realized nobody wanted him to be a GM, it was over. But you've got Vrabel, who I would be very happy with Vrabel if he brings Arthur Smith with him. Of course, Ben Johnson. You've got Mike McDonald. I would be okay with Bobby Slowick, I guess, even though I have reservations. I love Frank Smith. I think Frank Smith is being slept on. Like, I got to ask, has Frank Smith been unpersoned in the last week? Nobody's talking about him. This is the guy who's been the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins for 2 years, gotten a good offense and an elite offense out of Tua and crew, and for some reason he's just fallen off the face of the earth. I don't get it. But what I do get is that there are way more than two guys that I would be fist pumping to get in here. So we'll see what happens now. A lot of people are saying Ben Johnson's gone to the Commanders. What I'm going to say is don't eat the rotten cheese. Do not eat the rotten cheese, people. Okay? Belichick to Atlanta was supposed to be a done deal at one point. All right? This stuff happens quickly. This stuff changes quickly. There's no reason to believe that Ben Johnson's already married to an awful organization with brand new owners, with no quarterback, and a very limited roster to work with. There's really no reason to believe that right now. So we'll see what happens next week. Ben Johnson will likely have his season over next week, and he'll be able to just leave Detroit. So we'll probably see things heat up at that point. Mike McDonald might take a little while longer because he's probably headed to the Super Bowl. But look, it's reduced itself down very nicely for the Seahawks. If they do not come away from this with a really good coach, with somebody who is either high potential or proven to be high quality like Vrabel, something's wrong. Either something's wrong or something happened in the interview process that was just magical. Like Mike Kafka went in there and just showcased this playbook that's guaranteed to win 8 Super Bowls in the next 10 years. Something crazy happened if we come away with a low tier or even mid tier prospect. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Streaming with the Hawks Nest tonight. Hope to see you there. But things are heated up.